What's up, guys? Today we are really excited to show you this new 2020 BMW X7. It's really gorgeous. We really like this car. And this is BMW's response to the ever-growing larger SUV market with cars like the Mercedes-Benz GLS, the Audi Q7, the newly redesigned Cadillac Escalade. There's a lot of competition in this market and it's a highly profitable one. We are trying a new editing style for this video, so we hope you guys like it. Let us know in the comments if you like this one better than our last, which was more of kind of a simple editing style. But anyways, let's get right into this BMW X7. So at the front of this BMW X7, and the first thing you notice about new BMWs, and especially the X7, is the huge grille. And at first I didn't like it, but now that I've seen this overall car, it makes sense. It's very boxy and big, and it just has strong body lines everywhere. So this grille actually grew on me, and I really like it. Something interesting to note about the grille is that it's adaptive. So when you put your foot all the way down, it's going to open up to let more air in the engine, but if you're on the highway just cruising, it's going to go down for better fuel economy. One thing to note is these lights are really cool. I like how it's not just in typical BMWs two like U's or two circles like the butterfly lights, because this one kind of goes in, up a little and out. This car was driving behind me earlier, and just looking behind, these LEDs looked really, really cool. Another thing about lights is these fog lights are kind of hidden. They kind of have a lip over them. It's kind of a cool look. And then right under here, this sensor is very well integrated. It's under this like cool looking flap thing. They didn't even have to do that. They could have just stuck the sensor there, but it's cool attention to detail that BMW would do that. And besides that, it's just a very attractive looking front. I really like the edges at the bottom here kind of cutting through, and it gives it a more aggressive look for a bigger, boxier SUV. All right, now we're at the side of this BMW, and you can really see this Arctic gray metallic color. Me personally, I have not really seen a color like this before. It almost has like a green blue hue to it. It's pretty cool. As far as the metallic goes, the metal flakes in it are pretty small, so they don't really shine as much as they could, but it's a very cool look, and I highly recommend this color. It's pretty cool, and I don't think you have to pay anything extra for it. Just talking about just proportions, you can see it's pretty tall and long and very boxy. As you can see, this front and the back cut off very sharply. They don't extend out much, and the grille doesn't pop out of the front fascia. It just kind of ends. Another thing I want you to note is this car has the $5,000 M Sport package. So you get a bunch of little things like the M Sport logo on these tires, which are now 22 inches. The standard is 20 inches. You also get M Sport brakes, so bigger brakes. That's nice to have. And all sorts of other things. We'll show you later. There's a door trim with the M Sport logo and stuff like that. You get black trim instead of chrome, which I think is a much cleaner and more aggressive, stylish look than chrome. Personally, I think chrome is gaudy in a lot of ways, but this black trim complements this Arctic gray metallic color beautifully. And overall, this side of the BMW is very nice. The back of the X7 is relatively simple. There's not too much going on. You have a simple looking taillights that stretch around the side a good amount. Something I like is how this chrome bar that you kind of grip to lift up the tailgate stretches all the way along and connects both the lights. I think that's a really cool look. You do have fake exhaust tips, which is, you know, expected in 2020, especially for a SUV like this, but I actually do like them. They look clean, they got a big look to them, and the real exhaust tip is far back enough to where you don't really notice it as much, which I like. I don't like when the fake exhaust tip extends the same length as the real one, so you see both of them. It just looks silly. But yeah, I do like this back. It's an overall just clean look, and again, just kind of goes along with the boxy look this BMW has. So looking at this trunk of the X7, you have 13 cubic feet with all the seats up. With these third row seats folded down, you have around 49 cubic feet. And with all the seats folded down, you have around 90 cubic feet of storage space. You do have the traditional clamshell trunk style of the BMW SUVs, and you do have some nice features. So first off, you have this air suspension button that will lower the air suspension to its lowest setting, so it's easier to put things in. That's very useful, and it's a fun feature to do. You do have just a power fold for this bottom part of the clamshell, and it's nice and padded. It's nice to sit on. It'll be easy to slide things on. Something interesting to note is that like all the floor mats and like cargo holders are very heavy duty and are actually pretty stylish. They have the BMW logo on them, kind of like some chrome on it, some nice rubber textures everywhere. I do like that attention to detail. Something else to note is that you have this nice kind of grocery cover with the X7 logo, so it does look nice. It's not just a boring cover that they could have put on. There's nice attention to detail in all of this. And then another really cool feature is that over here on the left, you have features to roll down, fold down each of these seats individually and roll them back up. Normally in cars, and even luxury cars, you can only fold them down, but you have to manually put them back up. Not in this BMW. You can fold them down and fold them back up on your own with just a click of a button. Something to note about this though, it is pretty slow. The actual folding down does take a little bit of time, and when you press the button, you have to wait a couple seconds for this to do it. So powering this behemoth of a car is a 3-liter twin-turbo 6-cylinder engine making 335 horsepower and 332 pound-feet of torque. Now, it is a good-looking engine under the cover. It does get 20 in the city and 25 on the highway, so not that great fuel economy, but it does have nice power, and it is a big car, so that is expected. If you're paying 80 grand for a car, I don't think you're worrying about fuel economy too much, and if you are, then you might want to rethink what you're buying. Something interesting to note here is BMW has like 4 strut bars. Normally a strut bar will go from one side of the suspension to the other, but this one has like 4 kind of in a box kind of pattern. I'm sure it's for stability, but it's kind of interesting to note.
And now we move to the interior of the X7, and this is definitely the strong point of this vehicle. Now, it is your typical BMW look, but that is not a bad thing at all. While it's the same corporate design language of some lower-end BMWs, I don't necessarily have a problem with it because they do differentiate the materials. This definitely is a tactile interior. You have leather everywhere, it's wood, it's metal, that holy trinity of automotive interior materials that I love. You also have this really nice headliner. Just everywhere you touch is super nice. The only plastic bits are on your climate control. All your knobs feel absolutely fantastic. The interior here just has such a high quality of design. Everything is placed nicely where you can reach it. A fantastic job. The seats here feel absolutely great. They are nice and firm, but not too firm. They're sporty while being accommodating, and they are power adjustable, of course. And one thing I want to mention that's kind of fun about the interior, first of all, you can see just the quality of materials here is excellent. This little corner of the car really gives you an idea of the high quality that's going on in this vehicle. But they position the button to open the tailgate right next to all the window switches with the same button. So one thing, you're driving down the highway and next thing you know, your kids are flying out the back. Now let's talk about the technology in this car, because there is a lot, starting with this gigantic infotainment screen right here. It is your xDrive system, so it is controlled with a little knob, and it is pretty easy to navigate. I'm going to show you a few interesting menus. If you've seen one BMW, you've pretty much seen all of this, but some unique things to this vehicle. You definitely have some more off-road catered experiences in this vehicle. So if we go to driving information right here, I can go to the X view, and you can see this is like something you'd find in a Ford Raptor. You can see your compass, the degrees the vehicle is at, your elevation, and your air suspension level, which is awesome. You also have some cool sport displays, which give you, your G meter and the power output of the vehicle, which is super cool. And your energy flow. This isn't like a hybrid or anything, but it'll show you which wheels are getting power, which is awesome to see. And then you have your typical trip data. This actually kind of reminds me of a Tesla, the way it does the power, which is interesting. There isn't too much else here. You do have your experience modes BMW has become known for, where it'll kind of do the climate and throw the vents in all sorts of different directions and temperatures and do all sorts of different ambient lighting to try to get you in a different type of mood. That is an interesting feature, even if it's one that I don't think will be used very often. But the coolest technology feature on this car probably is the camera system. Shifting this vehicle into reverse will bring up a huge array of cameras. You can look here and you can see you have a 360 along with a reverse camera, but that by no means is the coolest feature. You do have a backup assistant and automated parking we'll discuss later. But if you look at 3D view, you get a drone shot of the car, which is just absolutely amazing. You can see all around it, and really this is a fantastic feature. This is the best camera system in the industry, no question. Super awesome. In terms of technology, you also have this big screen right in your driver gauge cluster, and it looks absolutely fantastic. In the middle, you have your navigation. You also have your tachometer there and your speed. It's just a super clean gauge setup. It is not very customizable like a lot of the competition is, but it definitely looks awesome. And one final cool technology feature you have in this car is your heads-up display, and it looks awesome. It is an option on this vehicle, but you do have your speedometer and you do have your speed limit right there. I don't know how it's showing up on camera, but I can tell you in person, it definitely is very clear and easy to make out, and it's well positioned. Climate control in this vehicle is excellent. You can see you have two little separate screens for your climate control, so it's always there. You don't have to dig through a menu to find it, which is awesome. This car does have climate zones for all your different rows, which is super cool. In terms of safety, this vehicle does come with a lot of features you would expect at this price point. You have auto emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection. You have blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert, and you have features like lane centering. You can also get a lot of self-driving features on this vehicle. Over 40 miles an hour, it can actually drive itself, but cars that can do that come with a little camera and it'll watch to make sure that you're paying attention to the road. Now, if you're going over 40 miles an hour, or if you're not on a highway, the car will still attempt to drive itself. However, it will force you to touch the steering wheel every couple of seconds so that it knows that you're still there. So some really cool advanced driving tech in this vehicle. Your center console is surprisingly shallow in this vehicle, but I do like how it kind of opens softly and in a clamshell fashion, just like the back. That's really neat. You also have a nice little storage space up here, which is nicely covered, and it has a really nice wireless charging pad and cup holders with the little bits that will keep your drink in place. So that is awesome. So really nice storage right there. Other storage places in this car. If you come in the back right here, you do have pockets, of course, in the back. And you can pull this down to reveal a nice little storage area in your center console right here. Cup holders, which is super nice. And you can open this up so you can fit a tablet in there maybe. And you also have this option to fold down the center seat so you can maybe pass through some skis or something like that. So really nice storage features in this vehicle. Here in the second row, your passengers will be very happy here. Let's start with the legroom. This is a very comfortable position for a passenger, and I am absolutely fine right here. Plenty of room. We do have the bench right here. Captain's chairs are an option. This is power movable though, which is fantastic to see. Really unusual feature for a bench. In the center, you have lots of amenities in this vehicle. You can open it up. I showed you this storage space before. The cup holders are just so intricate. I don't know what's with the Germans and their weird cup holders, but frankly, I love it. We can close this back up. And let's talk about your area right here in the middle. You do have climate vents that you can control back here, and you do have your general climate controls. You do have outboard heated seats as well, which is super cool to see. And you have a nice storage space that could easily fit a phone in here, which is really, really cool. You also have two USB-Cs down here in the middle. You also have USB-Cs with tablet holders in the backs of the front seats. So if you have kids back here, you can set up a nice little show for them, which is awesome. You also have this massive panoramic sunroof. You can actually get ambient lighting in the panoramic sunroof, which is a really cool feature. And there's a third sunroof in the back we'll take a look at in just a sec, which is awesome. Overall, the rear passenger experience here is excellent. The seats feel great, and you have that same nice luxurious touch you have up front with all these amazing materials and just such nice BMW attention to detail. Staying in the back of the vehicle with our new patented Guzzler vision, you all will be able to join me. There are a lot of buttons back here to move the seats around, and they're all laggy and weird. I do not like that. I find the easiest way is just to move it myself by pressing these two buttons right here on the side. But there we go, now it's nice and wide. Let's see if I can get in here. In we go. And you can see there's not a lot of room. I was plenty comfortable here, but I can fit back here. Another adult could fit back here because they only put 2 seats right here. So there is definitely room for 2 adults back here. As I mentioned, you have this amazing sunroof and you have your own climate controls. I'm not sure if they're in view of the camera on my head right now. And then you have cup holders back here. You have really nice amenities, which is awesome. You even have ambient lighting back here, which is so cool.
So driving the X7, the first thing you notice is how smooth the car is. I mean, it just glides across the road. The suspension, this air suspension, is so smooth. It really soaks up the bumps. The steering is really nice and light. It's very easy to drive despite its size because you have so many parking sensors and whatnot. It's very easy to park. Another thing you notice is how quiet it is in here. You have double pane glass, a bunch of other sound suppression in this car, so you really don't really hear the road. Just super luxury. It just really glides across the road. You do have a solid amount of body roll because it is a big car, but that's to be expected. Overall, just really solid, handling and everything. It's a very smooth car. You know, it's not that sporty. We don't have that big V8 engine that you get in the 50i. This is just the 40i. So you just have that 335 horsepower engine. But it still has, as much power as you need from this car. You don't need anything more. You really don't, because it's a luxury car. I really think that this powertrain is perfect. If you wanted a sports car, then you would want a bigger engine, but this isn't a sports car, it's a luxury SUV. I really love the way it drives. Very smooth. Okay, now we're going to demonstrate the automatic parking. What you want to do is you want to press this parking button with the cone here. Your cameras are going to come up. Make sure you have automatic parking selected, and you're going to basically go until you get a parking logo wherever it is. You're going to select it, and then you're going to let the car do its thing. Look like it's getting that, and then it's gonna come up. So pretty cool. So I guess if it's a really tight space and you want the car to maybe maneuver around for you, although it is very freaky to see it do this. But it is a well-known system, so I wouldn't worry, although it is very strange to have happen. But a very cool feature. And then it parks it for you.
So this vehicle right here has a lot to offer. Frankly, there aren't really any features in here that you won't find in the competition. You'll find air suspension in the competition. You'll find ambient lighting in the competition. You're gonna find features like that. But what you won't find in all of those vehicles is this level of build quality. Nothing in there feels shaky. Nothing in there feels loose. Everything in there you can tell was not just put together in a factory, it was put together by a craftsman in a factory, which is a big distinction. They really did a great job with this vehicle. It was so much fun to look around. A huge thanks to you all for watching. I hope you like the new editing style. We hope to see you in next week's video. Have a great week, everyone.